My name is Esther Wachuku. I must tell you, it was quite a rainy day. But first off, let's start off today by reminding you of some of the major events that transpired during the week in the political space. So we begin with the second trip to Europe of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. His media team said the trip was to enable him meet investors. But many wonder why such a meeting couldn't wait till after his swearing in on May 29. All right. Also in the week, supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi berated their hero for apologizing on their behalf to the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, of whom DJ Switch, we do know her, a notable obedient, had criticized for praying that God will help President-elect Bola Tinubu when he's sworn in. This past week also, the crisis within the Labour Party and the APC deepened following a court order stating that Julius Abure remains suspended as Labour Party chair, thus solidifying Lamido Apapa's position as the acting chair of the party. Of course, you definitely hear him give the order by stipulating that he should be updated within 48 hours. All right, now while in the APC, the jostle for the leadership of the National Assembly is widening the rift among party men. Plus, a raft of last-minute appointments and approvals for big spending by both federal and state governments has left a trail of suspicion with the question, why now of all times? Let's take a breather and then, of course, we'll head into the conversation. All right, welcome back. Now, from a controversial journey overseas by President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the second time, with just days left to the swearing in, to the crisis within his own party over the allocation of National Assembly leadership seats, and then to the drama that continues to play out within the Labour Party as to who its chairman is, plus members of the obedient movement berating their hero for apologizing to Pastor Adeboye. These and more in the picture today. However, you know that I will not be alone in having this conversation in the studio. I'm here with a legal practitioner, Pastor Joe Nwokedi, who is a political commentator and, of course, an enthusiast as well as, of course, a social affairs commentator. Barrister, good evening and welcome to the Sunday Spotlight.
Good evening, viewers. I greet all of you. It will be a wonderful moment.
Barrister, it was quite a dramatic event this week. Trust me, from the tussle within the Labour Party, who is chairman, who is not, to Peter Obi actually stating that he will be president, whether now or any other day. It is a certainty that will come. And of course, the obedience as well, who are berating their principal. But let's start off with the APC, the All Progressives Congress. President Muhammadu Buhari has been quite mum over some certain things that have been going on within the party. I think one would say that he just wants to step out and go and rest in his home. But the president-elect traveled out of the country and questions arose, what exactly are you traveling for when you have a few days to your inauguration? Why not stay put? In the process of him traveling, there has been a crack within the All Progressives Congress for the speakership position and, the Senate president. Now, they have chosen some persons, to actually occupy the seat, but then some members within the All Progressives Congress are not comfortable with that. Now, while he traveled, the spokesperson of the APC has actually spoken, Bayo Anonuga, and he said the president had to just leave the distraction. He said he's literally overwhelmed and it is important for him to try and just stay out of the entire challenge that is pressuring him. The question I want to throw to you is this. When he was campaigning, weren't promises made?
And the point that we'll have to even look at is the fact that now somebody, we know the onerous task involved in the office of the president. The burdensome nature of that office, supervising all the parastatus ministries, receiving briefing from security apparatus, government agencies, other departments of the government. So it is a very, very tasking obligation. So for President-elect that has not been officially sworn in and saddled with these responsibilities, to begin to see that the country is having distractions, that he needed to go and rest and go and put himself together in a foreign country, it's a big embarrassment to the country. It's a big embarrassment to Nigeria. Even if the president-elect has decided to have a place to rest, we have so many places in Nigeria that he can choose as an avenue to go and have that quiet rest. But the question now is it the time to rest? Is that the appropriate time for that to happen? This is the time you begin to lay a solid foundation, begin to interact with people, begin to interact with the would-be ministers, the would-be ambassadors, the would-be heads of parastatals, the would-be occupants of so many offices. It's now that the intrigues, will commence, because we don't want a situation where what transpired during the time of President Muhammadu Buhari's inception of office to happen. That took him almost 6 months or close to a year for him to appoint ministers. How he appointed almost career politicians that never, till today, rendered marvelous services to the nation. So I wouldn't know why the president-elect will be traveling out of the country to go and rest. And it wasn't long that he came back. They say he rested. He spent almost 30 days before he came back after the campaigns. That he came back to prepare for his inauguration. And now inauguration is coming. Senate presidency has been micro-zoned to the south-south, and also individually zoned to Akpabio. And now some people are saying, look, we can't go with this. Why should the office be zoned to an individual? They should have been thrown open to like a zone or south, micro-zoned to an individual. Some of them are challenging that. The one that was zoned to the north and the rest of them, some are saying, look, we don't want this. His presence is needed for him to weather that storm. Talk to the party leadership, find a way to reconcile some interest groups, some disagreements, and come with a blueprint on how to put in his own efforts towards emergence of Senate president. Although in a civilized society, he's not supposed to be part of that. The National Assembly is an independent arm of the government, which is the legislative arm of the government, and should be allowed to conduct their affairs without any interference from any quarters or from any individual, in as much as whatever might be the outcome of their deliberations or their choice will serve the purpose of the nation, also act as a check on the executive. But unfortunately, we are no longer seeing that. We are in a democracy that the president will be consulted before the Senate president will emerge, president will be conducted before the speaker will emerge, president will be conducted before deputy Senate president, before deputy speaker, before chairman head of the chief whip, before chief clerk of the house. Everything must be the choice of the president, and in the end we'll have a rubber stamp legislative arm. And that's why you see borrowing effortlessly going on. President can forward a bill to borrow 500 billion, 301 trillion, $2 billion, this and that, and it will be approved without interrogation, without questioning. And that's why the country is going down the drain. So what I'm saying is that, one, I vehemently condemn the decision for the president-elect to travel out of Nigeria for whatever reason. Even if it's on health purposes, he's supposed to receive that medical treatment in Nigeria. The Nigerian population, millions of people in Nigeria, receive their Medicare here. That is only when our doctors will be returned in Nigeria and provide their services here and have big patients. That's what they call their own clients. They call them patients. Also have big patients being treated here.
Now, this is a scenario. Apparently, the House, the ruling National Working Committee, nominated Godswill Akpabio and Abbas Tajudeen. Godswill Akpabio, who, of course, we already know that he is one of the strong members in the Senate. Now, that caused a rancor, within the APC. And then a lot of members are saying we cannot allow that to happen. We delivered our constituencies to the president-elect, so this is not the agreement that we had.
That's
But
the same material.
Kashim Shettima said something. He said he's trying to avoid the conversation that has been, let me not call it a conspiracy theory about Islamization. So that they're trying to avoid a scenario where they pick the speakership and the Senate president from the same faith.
Plus president and vice president.
Plus president and
so
vice
the first four set of people in the country will be from the same religion.
With the same religion, exactly. But then others are saying, no, it's our turn, right? Regardless of whatever it is that you think, we believe that it's all about competence and shouldn't be about where you're coming from or what faith it is.
No, if we are to look at competence, I'm not spokesman for Ababio. I have nothing to do with him. I have serious respect for him when he was in PDP because of the way he was able to weather the storm as an opposition. I thought he would have sustained that tempo. The moment he came to APC, he lost the way my support as his a kind of fan. I was his fan before.
You were?
Yes. I was even a fan of Saraki. I'm a fan of stubborn people. I was a fan of Fayoshe.
Of controversial people.
Yes, I was a fan of Fayoshe. I was a fan of stubborn people that are like this. I'm his fan. Once you are stubborn, you say your mind, you dare the devil, whatever, people in government have become your fan. So that I was a fan of Ababio then, but I'm no longer his fan now. So I'm not speaking on his behalf. Okay. But what I'm just saying is that if we are to look at the criteria for competence or a kind of qualification to become a Senate president, what other criteria are they looking at that Ababio doesn't possess? Ababio, by training, if I'm correct, is a lawyer. He was a chairman of a local government under one administration in, I think, in his state. From there, he became a governor. After being a governor, he was a senator. After being a governor for 8 years, and he did one. Even though I'm not his spokesperson, by normal rating of a Nigerian leader, he tried his best as governor of Akwa Ibom State. From there, he moved on to become a senator. Another the Senate was, I think, minority leader under PDP then. And he provided quality opposition then. It was the roaring point of PDP during that period. And he was able to, do well. And then before he now jumped ship and entered the APC, and they became one of their chieftains. And he was one that was instrumental in APC having their rally under Buhari then in Akwa Ibom. That was where they kicked off Buhari's campaign in 2015. You can still remember.
Yes.
That was the image he presented to APC then. He was trying to make it look like a national party. Before the second now, one was taken to Jos, Plateau State. So he has played the role by qualification, by experience, by age, by education. He's eminently qualified. So when people come by this way of competence, I always ask them, are you not saying that? And the most annoying, I have to be very, very blunt. When I see people from the north trying to downplay people from the south in terms of this competence, I will ask them, how are you now thinking that you're more competent from somebody from the south? On what parameter? By results we see in JAMB, universities and other things, do you do well than these people? From nowhere have you now become more competent than people from the south? Every performance index, everywhere, in all the places, they're always ahead of you. But from nowhere, the table will not turn. You now go to military, say you want to appoint competent people. There's no competent person from the southern Nigeria. You come to Navy, say you're looking for competent people. You go for appointment for chairman of EFCC, say you're looking for competent people. Are you not saying that Northerners are more competent than the Southerners? Which is nonsense. It is not there. You are just tell us you want to favor your people. Come up with another excuse and not competence. I see Ababio as eminently qualified to hold that office, also to strike a balance. From South-South,
some persons may not agree with you
from South-South or Eastern, at least to strike a balance, since by whatever means or whatever fear, they decide not to give it to people from the Southeast. And let it not be in South, let it be in South-South, which can say serve as old Eastern region.
Okay.
Since Southwest has the president. And also, from a kind of a system that has been in practice now, the senior presidents are always coming from the same zone with the president. Throughout the tenure of Buhari, it's not Lawan and the rest of them, they're not from the north. It was in Obasanjo that actually tried to make it after that did it. Obasanjo also did his own from the south. Akadibu and the Nwerem and the Vance and Nwerem and this Kennaman and the rest of them, Pius, they were all from the south. It's only Jonathan. Under Jonathan, that senior president came from the other region. That's David Mark. It was always with the side of the president. So what are they now making noise?
But
And
this
vice
has-
president is already from the north there.
this has
And
led
speaker
to-
is coming from the
this
north.
has led to-
And they also want Senate president to come from the north.
This has
And
led to-
Nigeria, no, I'm
Wait,
getting
first.
angry.
But don't
Nigeria is
get
going
angry.
down.
Don't
Why
get
are they
angry.
dominating everything?
Don't get angry.
Where the
Don't
country
get
is going
angry.
down?
Don't get angry.
Where are you
Because
leading Nigeria
we
to?
have a lot to talk about. So don't get angry. I need this passion for the other conversation that we're getting into right now. So please don't get angry. Now, this has allowed some aggrieved aspirants to form a coalition to choose a speaker. All right. Now, the speakership position, of course, of the National Assembly has taken a new turn as aspirants are now seeking to form a consensus candidate to tackle Tajuddin Abbas. Now, you call Betara, you recall a couple of them actually together who are saying, no, we're not going to allow this continue. If you think you can just do your imposition, we're not going to sit for it. So they feel, pardon me. So they feel that, okay, Idris Wase, Aminu Jaji, Al Hassan Dogua, and Sada Soli, they allied in a bid to battle Abbas, the candidate of the endorsed by President-elect Bola Tinubu. What do you think they will have a strong strong grasp?
The problem I always have with these people, I hope what actually happened on time of Saki and Ekweremadu will also happen again. Because when the ruling party is just like arrogated himself to the position of almighty, all are all, you always think that, you forgot that Labour Party has people in the National Assembly. Forget that PDP has chunk of people at National Assembly. You only focus on your party producing all these offices because you believe that maybe others have been relegated to like, irrelevance, which is very, very embarrassing and very disgusting. Within their own caucus now, they always project APC people. But under the Constitution, there is no law that says that the Speaker or the Senate President must come from the ruling party. Just because these other people always play code. Because basically the ruling party may have a greater number of people in the National Assembly. They always want debates. If you can present a candidate and then support your candidate, you can also go and get some people from the ruling party and join to present a candidate. So you must not always allow the ruling party to always dictate to you who will be the Senate President, who will be the Speaker. If their number, they cannot on their own vote a Senate President in. I don't think they have that two-third of the two-third. Do they have that two-third of the majority of that number? I doubt if they have it. Both Senate and National and the House of Reps. I doubt if they have it. They'll still need to consult with people from other parties.
So are you saying that the minority group have come together?
They have to come together. Yes, there was a system like that when Evans and Warren was having issue with Okadibo. Ekwem actually projected Evans and Warren. The Senate caucus projected Chuba Okadibo. Evans and Warren knew that PDP members did not want him. They actually wanted Okadibo in the first place. So what he did was that to rally with AD, Alliance for Democracy, and AMPP members and some faction of PDP, and he won. It was when they now removed him based on age forgery or whatever that Okadibo now came in. He won. He defeated them. So we should not always, depend on all this, gangsterism by the members of the ruling party. They should also try to know that this is a national leadership for the whole Nigeria. They should go and get someone with charisma, with capacity, with competence, integrity, and the passion to deliver and make Nigeria great. And not always look at what will favor the party, someone that will be the loyalty and allegiance will go to the party. These are the reasons that the country is going down on a daily basis. Okay. So whatever they are doing there, it is under the Constitution, they have the right to vie for that office. Every member, even the governor of Ebonyi State, this first ranking senator, first ranking and second ranking or whatever members are, all those things that they'll coin from nowhere and begin to use it to differentize people and do something that will be contrary to the Constitution. And this is something they coined, not constitutional. When he wanted to contest, before he chickened out of whatever, I don't know, he said that it is the creation of the Senate that somebody, first ranking officer cannot contest election. Under the Nigerian Constitution, they stood on every senator and every member of the House the right to contest. And talk to people, let them know what you are, present your blueprint to them, convince them. They can vote for you.
All right. We're currently streaming live on YouTube at VOPTV at the moment, VOPTV live. And of course, as well on our radio, it's VOP 90.3 FM, VOP 90.3 FM. subscribe. It's important for you to subscribe, and of course, we'd like you to make a comment. We'll take a very short breather, and of course, the Sunday Spotlight will continue. Right here in the studio, Evans Ufelu, who is a legal practitioner as well and a political commentator. Evans, good evening and welcome to the Sunday Spotlight.
Good evening.
I've been here with Barrister Jiro, and I hope that the next conversation I want to get into, I want to actually hear your purview. So here it is. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, has condemned social media attacks on the general overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye. He has also distanced himself and members of the Obedience family from what he described as a campaign of calumny from opposition ranks. Now, Obi made the statement from the Obi Dati Media Office on Wednesday, which was signed by Diron Onifade, and I want to actually read it out to you. He said, "We wish to state categorically that supporters of Mr. Peter Obi, like their principal, have great respect for Pastor Adeboye and therefore are not involved in any social media hounding or the revered man of God, most especially over a statement he did not make." The statement went further by detailing how desperate opposition political operatives orchestrate a ruse and blame it on the Obedience, a political maneuver they say has failed back to back. Now, in reaction to this, the Obedience, however, they dragged Peter Obi on Twitter for apologizing on their behalf. According to them, the Obedient movement is different from other political groups that can be gagged by the power that be, stating further that it is not right for Obi to continue denouncing or apologizing on their behalf. In fact, this particular tweet says, "If they burn you well," referring to Peter Obi, "apologize again. It's like you are unprintable. We have been receiving insults on your name, but you are now apologizing on our behalf. Please stop it." An angry supporter actually made that quote. And of course, we also have a former Kaduna Central Governor, Shehu Sani, who tweeted. He says, "Asiwaju, Atiku, and Buhari never denounce or apologize for whatever their supporters say or do. Peter keeps apologizing and dissociating. If you keep moving on this apologetic path, you will kill the libido of your movement. You spark the fire, embrace the inferno with courage. Now, Barrister Evans Ufili, here is a scenario. Do you think that Peter Obi has done any wrong in trying to bridge a vacuum or bridge the gap that he feels is being created by the obedient movement? First of all, he went to meet Wole Soyinka, I think that was last week, to speak with him. He says he respects and regards Wole Soyinka. A lot of us, who watched that felt, oh, it was a means to just try to curate that, what do you call it, that bruise that was created when Wole Soyinka termed the obedience as fascist. Yeah. And he did not really specify, but Wole Soyinka was the one that actually stated exactly what transpired. Yeah. And somehow his response, a couple of people said it was quite derogatory to the obedience and even to Peter Obi himself. Now, Pastor Enoch Adeboye's case too, although he said he did not mention Tinubu, he didn't make that statement, but already there was a reaction. And he actually tried to dissociate himself and dissociates the obedience from the clapbacks that went to the revered Reverend Pastor Enoch Adeboye. Do you think what he is doing is wrong? And the obedience dragging him, they don't want him to apologize on their behalf. They are in their right mind for reacting the way they are reacting. What's your take on that?
Well, sometimes when we say the obedience dragging him or asking him to disassociate from making such utterances, sometimes these things are tied to one tweet, one person, two persons who make statements on behalf of the general obedient movement.
No, it was a major it was the trend. It was trending. They were trending.
I understand the trend. A lot of people also are against the fact that he went to meet Wole Soyinka. That this is someone who had used derogatory statement on the entire group, and you should not be found being in that place. And then that of Adeboye, where he's stepping. I think Peter Obi is trying to be the good boy in the eyes of the storm. Okay. The election is done and over with. Okay. So for me, I think there are also certain set of persons who make derogatory statements against high placed individuals and that attribute their stay to the obedient group just to make the obedient group to look, violent, fascist and all that. There are people who are not actually obedient, who go out there to abuse highly placed people and then draw the steam to the obedient group.
So you're saying that some of the persons who make such derogatory comments may not actually be obedient. They could actually be from the opposition.
They could be from the opposition. In politics, so many things are possible. And part of what are possible is that sometimes you hear, even when we're in the university, sometimes you wake up one morning, they will tell you that the person vying for the SPG president has withdrawn. At the end of the day, in the afternoon, you will now find the person delivering a press statement somewhere and say, I have not withdrawn also. So politics comes with a lot of heat, okay? But what Peter Obi is trying to do also is not the best, because he is trying to be good to all. In politics, politics is like war. Politics does not determine who is right. War does not determine who is right. It determines who is left.
So you're agreeing with what Sheikh Husani actually said?
Yes, he cannot continue to be the good boy in the eyes of everyone.
Do you think it's just him being humble?
Well, the humility is not serving the purpose, because see, these supporters have said it even times without number that even Peter Obi himself does not even have the right to withdraw from the movement. You remember the build-up to the movement, and the movement is so strong. Peter Obi should know that movement is the only voice left of the Nigerian state. It is the new order. It stems out from history. It stems out from the NSAS protest, where a new voice came out and said, we want a neutral position. Now, that force also culminated into his support, because he communicated effectively to the common man on the street. He told the common man on the street that the problem we have with the wastages and the inability for government to conduct itself in such a way that the commonwealth of the nation will be he communicated effectively to the man on the street. And people bought into that vision because of his level of communication and the sincerity they saw in him with his past record. Okay? Now, having built to that level, it is not for you to go on their behalf, okay, to begin to apologize to every other person, because in politics you must have bruises here and there. So if everyone, just imagine Tinubu now, come out there to, begin to apologize to all the opposition. Okay, it does not work like that in politics. Okay, what he should do is, there's a movement that supports him. Fortunately enough, what he should do is to detach himself from the emotions of those whom his movement has affected or has infringed upon. He need not, except perhaps he consult with his movement, okay, before setting out to do some of these things, because they are looking at it like this man is taking us for a ride. Even at all our support, he seems to be more with the opposition than he is with us, okay, in the fight. And people will always make utterances and they will feel betrayed when the person whom they support goes about apologizing and flourishing with. He has made certain statements in the past that so person is his elder brother, so person is his leader. And these are people who were against the movement to bring him. The article said some time ago that Obi is too in haste to become Nigerian president. But the same Obi went on another occasion to say that Atiku is his leader. Because they contested elections together sometime in 2019 and all that. So this kind of expressions, it causes it sprays a dent on those who are following him and say, no, this is an independent movement. We are following you, you are leading us, okay? So I think if he has to do any of this henceforth, he needs to consult with his followers. It's very important.
Okay. Barrister John Wokedi, there are some other critics who believe that the obedient movement is now so big for Peter Obi that he no longer has control of the movement, that the movement has gotten out of hand, that he has no choice but to play to the whims and caprices of the movement. An example was given with the fact that the case at the Election Petition Tribunal, that possibly Peter Obi has actually accepted defeat, but he's afraid to actually do that or admit anything because of how huge the obedient movement has gotten, that they're literally controlling him. It's gotten out of hands now that he can't even say or do anything otherwise. Now, this brings us back to the scenario whereby he was being dragged by the followers. They complained and said, don't apologize anymore. What are you apologizing for? We have been killed, we have been malnourished, we have been starved, we've been insulted. Some persons have called them obedience. Some people have called them daft. Some persons have called, and now you're now apologizing. Why would you do that? Do you think him trying to maintain a stance of true leadership, humility, and having a principle as a man of poise, without the negative aspects that would paint him as someone who supports hostility and violence, do you think him having to display this charisma is wrong?
For me, like my learned friend here said, myself, I played politics in school. Yes, I went to Senate. I was a governor of one of the largest centers. I was into a switch. So, people at a point, you may even be overwhelmed by the level of followership you may have, and certain things people will do because of you. That was when I was going for election. Somebody discharged himself from the hospital against doctors' advice. He said he would rather die, that if they leave him there and he's not part of that election, then he will die in the hospital. And they gave him advice not to go for the election. Travel all the way from Tinubu. When they left, he removed all the syringes or whatever. They sneaked out of the hospital, entered the bus, and came to school to vote. Although he voted, he also supported me. So imagine that kind of level of commitment with his own life. He said he has so many people he needs to talk to that without his presence, those will not vote for me. And he discharged himself, contrary to doctor's advice, and came down. I was my classmates. We were on the same faculty of law, the same class. So, as a leader, it has gone beyond certain levels. So the emotion of that person must be considered when you want to take a decision. It's no longer just me then. I was so scared that my classmate can do this. What if he has died? After the election, that very evening, he went back to hospital and got admitted again. So, like this obedience movement, we discovered so many people that sold certain things they have. So many people supported their various groups, brought out money for t-shirts, for a lot of things. It was a campaign in Nigeria that we saw Nigerians taking charge, taking ownership. People sponsoring a lot of things. At the point they were saying we were not giving shishi. It was their own money. It was the P2B knew that most of money he spent during this election, like official money he spent. Most of the rallies that people attended, they funded their movement, they are going there. People like us also in our own various ways, for little we have put it in. Likewise, so many Nigerians. So it's not a kind of something he will just on his own decide to come and begin to make comments. He has to consider the mood of the people. He has to consider the passion, the drive they have for the movement. And also need to like understand that, look, in as much as you are the person that these people are looking up to as the head, somebody they so much believed in, they might be emotionally injured if you go ahead to do certain things that will be detrimental to their own feelings. And it's not going to, yes, in Nigerian politics, we need to be careful. You don't stop too low. You don't present the perspective of a weak person. Because Nigeria is a tumultuous, turbulent country that certain kind of authority must be exerted as a leader before you can weather the storms in Nigeria. So now, but you cannot say that the movement is bigger than him. The movement projected him. He's the human face of the movement. And in this election, you also understand that this is a movement that people caricatured, people called no structure, people called people tweeting from 2 rooms, people called them obedience, people called them obituary, people called them all sorts of names. And in the end, they were able to do the unthinkable without having a serving senator, having a serving governor, an ambassador, a minister, a local government chairman, even a councillor. They were able to pick 12 states. You have to respect them. These people calling them names, do you think they were trying to like downplay on the tempo, like my little friend here say, on their enthusiasm, on their push, by trying to like give them a bad name, not to hang them, and you are trying to like apologize. You can, and again, P2B should not be taking these things personally. It should not be a personal thing. He has spokespersons. If they say something wrong, let his spokesperson respond. Even if they want to apologize to Adiboye, let the spokesperson.
It was actually the spokesperson who responded.
No, this Wole Soyinka, he even went there. You don't need to do those things. You know, you don't even need to, certain issues, you pretend as if you didn't see them. There must always be a cause and effect relationship. Without a cause, there will be no effect. If somebody can just on his own come out in early morning and make statement that will be controversial, he said that he that brought ill-gotten woods will not complain when lizards, come to pay him visit. If they have shut their mouths without saying controversial things, people will not respond. Under citizens of Nigeria, under Section 39, they have freedom of information expression and other things.
All right.
That's my point. Yes. They have the freedom to express themselves, even without P2B, or P2B or no P2B, as citizens of Nigeria. They have the embedded power under the law to say their mind. So why are you opposing on their behalf? For me, they have warned him. For me, he should listen to that warning. Because no matter whatever P2B is, obedient movement made him that.
Okay.
They made him that, so he should also consider the emotion.
All right, Barrister Evans, Peter Obi recently, during a book launch, he made a declaration and he said that during the unveiling of the book titled Peter Obi, Many Voices, One Perspective in Oka Anambra State, Obi expressed optimism about still becoming president and declared that he was not in a hurry to achieve the dream. So he said, anyone who thinks I'm on transit is wasting his time. Let me tell you, I must be president of this country. I am sure of that. If not today, it must be tomorrow. Now, when this statement was made public, it sparked a number of reactions from several quarters. The quarters are from the opposition political parties to the supporters and to those who are in between. Now, this particular statement, a couple of persons think, or critics think, that this was a reaction to the obedience drag when they said, hey, excuse me, we are fighting, don't make peace. This is a war, supposedly. Don't make peace for us. And so, to create an impression of, I am not weak by doing what I did, he came here, he made a statement at the book launch, and he said that he will be president, if not now, but some other time. Him making that statement at some point, do you think it will be a weak link that will be utilized by the opposition by saying possibly he's selfish, or that he has not even seen how the election at the petition at the election tribunal will go before he made that declaration? Or could it be it's a declaration of faith?
No, it's a declaration. He's stating his ambition, his aspiration as a person. First of all, he put himself at the spot to run for presidency, not for play, not just to joke or to play around. Okay, he has a number of followers he has today, not because he wants to joke. And let me also tell you that P2B started quite early. even before all the other presidential. It started quite early, cryptically.
Before all the other presidential candidates?
Yes,
like Atiku Abubakar, you started before him?
It started, yes, at the, let me tell you, his presentations, okay, at the platform, okay, of the Covenant Nation,
yes,
okay, is where he kick-started that, not a campaign, but that's where he kick-started his strategic communications, okay, and Nigerians bought into that thought because no political leader, past or present, has been able to present to us the wastages in governance, how we can conserve resources, how that the common man can rise from being a commoner to and all that. So people plunge into it, even when he did not succeed, okay, at clinching the presidency by virtue of the result INEC announced. A lot of persons succeeded. Common people got State House of Assembly position, House of Assembly,
Reps.
and all that. Reps and all that. His drive and his ability to communicate to the grassroots has brought fortune to so many persons. Okay, and it's a journey. Okay, now he's saying that he must be Nigerian. Anybody who have faith in himself and believe, okay, in his own aspiration can say he must be president of Nigeria, then it can come to pass. It's possible, especially when the result declared by INEC is being contested, okay, and they are in the tribunal and the matter has started, and the legal team have made a strong case for him. Okay, I was in the UK and a Briton told me that election petition written by the legal team should be made into a handbook and kept in libraries all over the world.
Wow.
He's not a Nigerian. He told me that we're discussing. Okay, he's a well-prepared. If you're a lawyer that have insight, you will know that. I'm not saying that will make him to win or lose. Okay, but I'm saying a good job was done there. So he has a right to say what he's saying. He's not declaring himself president. He only said that he will become. Okay, and having said that, I think that should be respected. Anybody have that? He's of age, he's a Nigerian, he's qualified, he has contested the election, now he's in the tribunal. The election process has not ended because it goes beyond the day of election and the result of INEC. Now it has been subjected to judicial review via the petition, presidential, which is the Court of Appeal. Okay, now and you can file a case and believe that you have merit and that it will turn out in your favor, and you can say so, regardless of what the opposition have to say. And the opposition will twist it, turn it. Some they may even go and say he's declaring himself president. Some will say it's treason. You know, in Nigeria, everything you do now is treason. Some people will say all sorts. But the truth is that he believes in himself and he believes he's going to get justice. So let's watch and see what happens one day.
All right, so here is another scenario, and this is to you, Barrister John Wokedi. Federal High Court, all right, has dismissed a preliminary objection by the National Chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, and 3 others over their suspension from the party. Now, Justice Hamza Muazu, in a ruling on Friday, held that the court had the jurisdiction to hear the matter and make the order restraining Abure and the others from parading themselves as national officers of the Labour Party. The National Secretary, Umar Farouk Ibrahim, the National Treasurer, Oluchi Okpara, and the National Organizing Secretary, Clement Ojukwu, who was suspended on April 5, had filed a motion challenging the court's powers to hear the matter. Now, arguing the motion, counsel to Abure and 3 other national officers, Ben Nwosu Esquire, said the matter was an internal affair of the Labour Party, which the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain, as it was, therefore, non-justiciable. However, Lamidi Akpakpa, responding to the court ruling, stated that lawyers representing the Labour Party at the tribunal should give an updated brief to him within 48 hours. Let's take a listen to Lamidi Akpakpa, where he made that statement. Immediately, the injunction from the court came on concerning the fact that Julius Abure remains suspended.
That are calling for the formation of an interim administration is about certain individuals claiming to be members of Labour Party that are calling for the formation of an interim administration and claiming that they are against the swearing in of the president-elect as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And the people behind it are Julius Abure, the former National Chairman of Labour Party, Kenneth Okonkwo, Obiora Ifo, and Dr. Tanko Yunusa, and we are calling for their arrest and prosecution by the Inspector General of Police for breach of peace and an act that will undermine the unity of Nigeria. Following a series of agitation and call for the restraining the president-elect from being sworn in on May 29, 2023, Labour Party hereby allay the fears of Nigerians that the swearing in of the president-elect will not have an impact on the ongoing legal tussle in the president election tribunal involving our party, APC, and INEC. You will recall the television interview by the legal luminary, Chief Femi Falana SAN, who explicitly posited the position of the law on the election matter at the tribunal, and Labour Party was in agreement with him because the issue had been properly dissected by the legal jurisprudence, who affirmed that the statement credited to Cardinal Onoyekon may not be feasible, as the current legal tussle may take more than 3 months before it could be finally disposed of. The Electoral Act and Constitution of Nigeria does not give room for vacuum. So whether the president-elect is sworn in or not, there is right to remove him legally if found that he was not duly elected, according to Chief Femi Falana. While citing an example, like the 2003 election of Peter Obi and Chris Igigi, Ahmed Dati, our current vice president candidate, and who got elected as a senator then, and Masari, the Agwe governor of Katsina. The judiciary played the role it was expected of it, and those that lost at the court vacated their seat in spite of spending some time at the seat then. Mr. Peter Obi started afresh, likewise others, and that's why we're having stagger election in some states, including Anambra. Now let me now delve on the constitutional provision on when the president-elect may not be sworn in, so that most of us, the obedient family, Labour Party family, and the obedient, those calling for war in Nigeria, will know. Section 136 sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended states, if the president-elect die before taking oath of allegiance and oath of office, the vice president will be sworn in as president. The vice president-elect, who is now the president, will nominate a new vice president with an approval of a simple majority of the joint sitting of both the Senate and the House of Reps. Section 136(2) of the National Constitution as amended states, where both the president-elect and vice president-elect die before they are sworn in, the INEC shall immediately conduct an election for the president and the vice president. Now, constitutional provision on when there is a vacancy in the presidency. Section 146 sub 1 of the National Constitution as amended states as follows: where the office of the president is vacant and as a result of death or resignation, impeachment, or permanent incapacity, under the siege of political vampires, political buccaneers, predator, and emergency democrat, where some civilian in military camouflage want to conspire with the dictate of informed Nigeria to stage a coup d'etat against May 29 Nigeria, that we will not support. And we also want to challenge our president candidate that on a moral ground, he needed to be found on the side of law, because we must show to Nigeria that even if victory is given to us at the president election petition at the Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, other candidates will respect it. Therefore, once we want that candidate to respect the decision of the court in our favor, we must also respect the decision of court against us. Thank you very much.
Was there a convention when this Lamidi Papa was chosen?
I think there was a mix-up there. We tried to also play you what Lamidi Apapa said immediately the court injunction came, where you heard him say he's the authentic chair of the Labour Party for now. He's the acting chair, and he also stated that the lawyers within the Labour Party should give him a brief and update within 48 hours. You also heard Abayomi Arabambi, factional publicity secretary of the Labour Party there, where he gave a press conference describing the fact that those who are parading themselves as national chairman of the Labour Party have gotten it wrong, and that they do not believe that the president-elect should not be sworn in as much as the case is still at the Election Petition Tribunal. It should continue, but that they are in support actually of the president-elect being sworn in. And if by any rights the election petition tells the favor of the Labour Party, then things will be duly done. And so he also mentioned the obedience, who they term to be those who are violent and insulting. That is basically what Arabambi, factional publicity secretary, just finished saying at the moment. All right, so we're able to play you two audios where you heard Lamidi Apapa, the factional chairman, well, he's no longer the factional chairman. The court has actually said that he's the acting chair. And so he came out to emphasize it. And then you also heard Arabambi too, publicity secretary of the Labour Party. Now, responding to that entire exchange between Lamidi Apapa and, of course, Arabambi, who is a factional publicity secretary, let's take a listen to Julius Abure, where he certified that nothing has changed and that Nigerians should not listen to those who they consider to be the opposition stooge within the Labour Party to create a distraction. So we're going to give you an audio of Julius Abure.
You can see that I'm speaking to you live. I'm making this broadcast from the office of the National Chairman of Labour Party. This is my office, and I'm here. Apapa is not here. Nobody is here, so I'm here. So no court has suspended me. The matters are in court, and we are dealing with it. We are very sure that at the Court of Appeal, we will be able to get justice. It has come to my knowledge that mischief makers like Apapa and his group are busy carrying out propaganda and misinforming members of the general public. I know that members of the public already know them and know where they stand. But for the purpose of putting the record straight, hence it has become imperative for me to make these few clarifications. First, that no court has suspended me as the national chairman of Labour Party. I need to state here ab initio that I remain the national chairman of Labour Party. We are in court, and yesterday in court, we had raised objection to the preliminary objection to the entire suit, and the court only ruled that they have jurisdiction to hear the matter. Nothing more, nothing less. And for them to be going around town saying that I have been suspended by the court as the national chairman of Labour Party, we show to you the high level of desperation and the haste for these charlatans to satisfy their paymasters. I therefore want to urge all Nigerians, urge our party supporters, urge Labour Party supporters to disregard the information being transmitted and carried by Apapa and his cohorts. It is very clear that these are people who does not mean well for the Labour Party. Even if we have disagreement at the national level, is it enough to be withdrawing election petitions across the state? As I speak with you now, the Apapa-led group is busy moving from one state to the other, withdrawing election petitions that is filed by successful candidates of the party. Last week, we raised alarm over plans to withdraw and work against Peter Obi's petition. That plan has not been completely jettisoned. They are still working on it, but we are waiting for them. We are ready to continue to provide leadership for Nigerians. We are ready to defend the cause of Nigerians. We are ready to defend the cause of Labour Party. Our party have come to stay, and we are ready to provide leadership for Nigerians. I therefore want to urge members of the public to disregard any misinformation that is making around as per the leadership of the party. It's very clear that our Papa and his group have sold their conscience, have sold their soul, and therefore serious-minded people should not take them seriously. INEC has just released the list of candidates who were successful in Kogi and Imo State, and you can see that our candidates have all been uploaded, and therefore that's to tell you that our Papa and Co are fake and therefore should not be listened to. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, welcome back. That is Julius Abure, who is literally saying that whatever it is, that is whoever it is that is parading themselves as a Labour Party acting chair is false. His office is still there and nothing has changed. Now, while I ask my analysts right here in the studio what their perception is or what they think about this scenario between Araba B, Lamidi Papa, and of course Julius Abure's response, we would like you to be part of the conversation this evening. The number for you to call is 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903, and of course you can also send us messages on WhatsApp on 0700 903 9039. Our WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039, and the number for you to call is 0700 903 903 903. I'm going to start with you, Barrister John Wokedi. You've heard what Arabambi said in his press conference. You heard what Lamidi Papa said as well. And of course, Julius Abure. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I've heard them clearly. They are trying to twist the ruling of the courts. Yes, from everything I understood from the whole thing. From everything, I discovered that Abure was suspended on the grounds of fraud, embezzlement, misappropriation of funds, and other things. And then the matter was taken to court. Then Papa, I don't know, maybe he's parading himself as national chairman of the party too. But I don't know the convention where he was elected. I'm yet to, like, somebody will brief me on the convention that was held where Lamidi Papa was elected as the chairman of Labour Party. But Abure was actually elected under a convention. And in the face value, in the face of it, he's authentic national chairman of Labour Party, but they have suspended him based on some allegations of misappropriation of funds and other related things. And the matter was taken to court. And his legal team filed action, raising the issue of jurisdiction of the court to entertain the suit. The court lacks jurisdiction to entertain that matter, that allegation of fraud and other things. They are within purview of internal affairs of the party. That as such, court should not entertain it. Mm-hmm. Are you following the gist now? So court now ruled, overruled them, saying that, look, I have right to entertain this application, that I have jurisdiction, that the matter can commence in my court, and I want to hear the parties. I want to commence trial. I did not, when I was doing that judgment, I did not see where court made express pronouncement that Lamidi Papa will remain acting national chairman. But I believe Lamidi Papa is acting on the fact that, what Julius Abure has on ground, because he was challenging that suspension, his own suspension that was anchored on alleged misappropriation and other things, that there is nothing before the court again. Because prior to that time, the preliminary objection, the PO on jurisdiction, was acting as a stay. That this matter has not been determined, the courts cannot hear it, that they have no right to suspend, or the court cannot hear that issue. So that matter was before the court. But now that thing has been vacated. Court has ruled. So there is nothing before the court again. As such, I can now begin to act as acting chairman. Because what Abure and his team has in court has been vacated by the court by saying that I have jurisdiction to hear this matter. But then, looking at it from strict legal perspective, does that has that suspension been upheld by the court? Is no. Court did not rule in that dimension. Court only ruled based on whether court has the right to entertain the suit or not. Court did not make any pronouncement as regards the authenticity or otherwise of the chairmanship of Abure. There was no pronouncement on that. And that was not even what they argued in court. What is before the court is a criminal aspect of a crime. That if this crime is established, for the fact you have committed these crimes, you are no longer qualified to be the chairman of the party. It was the grounds. That's why Abure is now saying that his legal team will not submit to that court. That they lacked a kind of confidence and trust in that court, that they want to appeal that decision, knowing that they have right of appeal, to appeal that decision, to know whether the appeal court will reverse it. I believe even if they fell in that, they might still write that the matter be reassigned to another judge. Okay. Courts can still reassign that matter if the CJN wants to do so, or the chairman of president of court of high court, can still do that. Then it might be reassigned. But now there is no express pronouncement by the court invalidating the office of the national chairmanship of Abure. So, because if that has been done, he's a lawyer, he can go out continue acting in that capacity, because that would be like abuse of court process and also falling foul of the provisions of the law.
Barrister Evans Sufeli, the High Court dismissed a preliminary objection of the National Chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, and 3 others over their suspension of the party. Justice Hamza Mwazu, via the ruling on Friday, held that the court has the jurisdiction to hear the matter and make the order restraining Abure. Meanwhile, Abure, arguing the motion, is saying that the matter is an internal affair, which the court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain. Therefore, it is non-justiciable. So, are we saying what the court has said now is it doesn't stand based on the fact that the situation is an internal affair? There was a particular time on this program where we talked about the fact that is the court meant to be part or should interfere with what is going on within the political party? If they have issues within a political party, is there any right of a court interference? Somebody literally said the court comes in to scatter the process. I think there was on a program on our voptv where we had a legal representative talk about the fact that the court comes in there to create a sense of malfeasance. So what's your take on what is actually going on? The Labour Party, that is the faction of Julius Abure, is saying that the matter going on is an internal situation and the court lacks jurisdiction to actually entertain it. But the court is saying that they have the jurisdiction to hear the matter and make the order restraining Julius Abure.
Yes, if you look at the Electoral Act, the Electoral Act have a provision where matters of internal affairs of the political party is supposed to be resolved in between the political parties within the mechanism. You have to submit to the mechanism of the party to have such resolve. Okay, it's there in the Electoral Act, but when you extend it, now a party has gone to a conventional, okay, to say that because they were suspended, okay, to say that this suspension was wrong, so that they can be reinstated. And now a preliminary objection to that effect, but the court is saying it has jurisdiction. Now, there's no one who can say that the court does not have jurisdiction, even if there is a law there except on appeal. Okay, it's also another court, okay, of competent jurisdiction that will state whether or not the court of first instance has jurisdiction or has no jurisdiction. Of course, the court of first instance have already declared that it has jurisdiction to hear the matter, okay? But the adverse side is saying no, that this court does not have jurisdiction to hear the matter. So they are going to go on appeal. So when they get on appeal, the appeal court will decide. So no party in the dispute can confer jurisdiction on the court or on the internal mechanism of this, even though there is a provision of the Electoral Act that actually suggested the internal mechanism for resolution of dispute within the party. Okay, but if parties have overstepped that and they are not in a conventional court, the court has taken as made its own decision based on certain issue. It has seen that, okay, we have the decision to determine this matter. And it is an interlocutory ruling, okay? Not the substantive suit now, because it's a response to a preliminary objection. Okay, so the parties who brought the preliminary objection, who have now lost out in the ruling, they are now going to the Court of Appeal to ventilate that. So let the Court of Appeal now decide whether or not the conventional court has jurisdiction, or whether they are going to be ordered to go and resolve the matter internally.
It's quite unfortunate if we think of what is actually going on within the Labour Party. The reason is this. The party is a strong contender with the main opposition, the main ruling party and the PDP. Nobody expected them to come as strong as they did. It's almost like the race is getting to the finish line and we're beginning to see this entire internal quagmire. It's beginning to hold like the party itself is not put together. It also feels like the leadership themselves did not realize they were going to amass such support and movement. And so now they understand what it takes. And so it's about, I want to be the leader. I want to be the chairman. This is my position. And if you hear the entire scenario precisely, you can literally put a hand on what exactly is the bone of contention.
Yeah, talking about embezzlement of funds.
Embezzlement of funds, which the court has found to not actually be true. So if that is the case, then why are we still having the case in court? What are you appealing? Who is supposed to be the chairman and who is not supposed to be the chairman? Why is there an acting chairman? Why is there... Okay, so if you go to the INEC portal, who do you see there? If there is a contention, right? Who do you see there? We do have a call. Hello, good evening. Good evening, welcome to the Sunday Spotlight. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Okay, I think we've lost that call. We can't hear the caller. But again, there was a time Peter Obi made a statement recently, I think on Friday, where he said people are accusing the Labour Party of washing their dirty linen in public. And he says, what exactly about the Labour Party should be considered private? The party, everything about the party is open. So why should anybody consider anything going on within the political party private? And he raised his hand to actually indicate, he said, this is the dirty linen. People are suffering based on the World Food Index or World Health Organization. 3 states will suffer more in terms of poverty. He mentioned bottom. So these scenarios are scenarios that one will begin to think, what exactly is going on? The supporters are saying that these are stooges placed to destabilize the party. Critics are saying, that is the opposition parties are saying, because they're a baby political party. Is the Labour Party a baby political party?
It is not, but there's something the political party lacks. And that is the proliferation of statesmen. If you look at PDP, okay, PDP have this, if the dispute becomes so tough, there are some statesmen that will call the people together and say, resolve this, go and withdraw this. They have this, there's this capacity.
Okay. Good evening. All right,
there's this capacity that the Labour Party is lacking. They have not been this popular. The only time they were popular was when Mimiko was in the party and has claimed chair.
And later abandoned it.
And has claimed governorship and later left. You understand? That was the only time they came in the spotlight. In the state, not nationwide. Okay, this is the first time they're having that nationwide spread.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name, please, and location?
My name is Annie. I'm calling from London.
Annie, welcome to the Sunday Spotlight. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, please, my question is this. First of all, thank you for the issue you're raising, and in particular, Wakedi, I want to thank you so much for how you're highlighting certain legal issues. But there's one very important thing I want to find out. Does it mean that any person that gets off from the party any day will come and sue in the court and say that, oh, I am the chairman, or I am this and I am that, and court will entertain it? Because if, from what you are saying, if there was no convention if there was no convention where Apapa was elected as a chairman or an acting chairman, all right, then the court is entertaining this. Does it mean that tomorrow any person, any group of people can always get up from any party and say, oh, we are the chairman and the secretary and this and that, and the court will be entertaining such a discussion? To me, it looks ridiculous. It really looks funny, you know. So please, I will be happy if you can expatiate on this very issue.
Barrister Joe. Remember, you can call 0700 903 903 903, 0700 903 903 903, and of course the WhatsApp number is on your screen if you're watching us on YouTube. It's 090 0700 that's 0700 903 9039. That's the WhatsApp number. Go ahead, Barrister Joe.
Anyway, in a law courts, just like my left friend here rightly said the other time, anything that is brought before the court will entertain it.
Okay.
No matter how frivolous it is. The only thing court will do, court will award serious cost against you. If after looking at all the things you have filed, and no cause of action has arisen, and it's so unmeritorious and frivolous, court will dismiss it with substantial costs against you. That's why it is court. You bring in application, you file at registry. The ones they look at certain things that ought to be in the process you want to file, they allow you to file it and assign it to a court to look into that. But then, like this issue regarding the question the man asked, and I know we raised that issue. What's the background of our Papa? Which convention actually introduced him? You know, at what a kind of gave him an authority to challenge the leadership of Abure, and who suspended Abure? It's at the world level. It was not even a Papa that suspended, it was at the world level. People should know that these things are like political intrigues. We have seen it play out even in terms of Oshomola and Obaseki in those states, where Obaseki, through his local government councillorship ward, right? Suspended Oshomola. Oshomola went to court. They played instrument of the court. Courts violated. Before you know it, it was at the fire. Oshomola left. So I believe that was where they got this idea from. You know, the opposition party would have, because now the Labour Party is holding the opposition party and the ruling party at the jugular. And they are aware of that. You know, they were shouting, go to court, go to court. They never knew what would appear before the court. When they now saw what was filed in court, it was a master stroke. It was so brutal. It was very, very brutal. In fact, it's something we are looking up to the court to make. Let us see how court will regulate out of it. Yes, like my reference said, somebody saw it. It was a watertight case. From every angle, you have it to like assess it. From an unbiased perspective, as a lawyer, they filed a watertight case. Now, the opposition party, especially people are fingering the ruling party with the president-elect. The president-elect are fingering the president-elect under APC, are sponsoring this other Papa-led faction.
And the Abambi.
Yes, and in the Abambi, just to find a way. They sponsor them. Political party is an association. And by virtue of fundamental human rights and fundamental rights entrusted in every Nigerian, you have the right to belong to any association, freedom of association. So people can easily become member of any political party. Some of them will even begin to donate money, begin to give things for you to bring them close.
Hello.
But the agenda is to spoil.
I can hear you. What's your name, please? Good evening. Hello. All right, I think we lost that call.
So the agenda is to they will be sponsored. There was a person that was contesting the election. Some strange faces joined the political movement, began to donate money, take over projects. I asked them, man, do you know these people very, very well? He said, so I said, no, don't get these people so close. They might be sponsored to destroy this our organization. Even the fact that they are donating money and doing all these things, we should monitor them carefully. And eventually, towards the tail end of the election, some of them began to act.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, I can hear you. Name and location, please. Hello. All right, please, when you call, I can hear you. Good evening, name and location.
Okay. I'm not hearing you. Oh my God.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, I'm hearing you now.
Please go ahead. What's your name and location, please?
Okay, this is Ibrahim.
Hello?
Yeah, are you hearing me now?
Go ahead, please. What's your name and location?
Okay, yes, I have some prayer.
Hello?
Can I speak up about this?
I can't hear you. You are not coordinated. What's your name and location, please?
Okay, Ibe to from
Where's your location?
Surulere.
Surulere. All right, please go ahead.
Yes, the out of.
Are you on motion? Are you on motion or are you using an earpiece? Because you're fluctuating.
Yes, I'm not even using it because I'm just myself.
All right, continue. I think that there's a connection problem there. While that is being rectified, let's take a listen to Peter Obi at the book launch on Friday. In fact, it was a fundraising book launch for the case at the Election Petition Tribunal. While the case is ongoing there's a fundraising going on, but that book launch was an avenue for that. Let's take a listen to Peter Obi and what he talked about concerning the dirty linen of the Labour Party being displayed in public.
This year, people.
That's Peter Obi currently, yes, thank you.
To lose my job. So I thank you for inviting me. I'm sure it's a delegate conference. I can only but wish you the best of deliberation and continue to talk about Nigeria. Mr. President, thank you for that very long, detailed speech. Whenever you listen to things like this, and at times want to decide, say a few things that might not be in support of my own sister, because the chairperson is my sister. But when they say we wash our dirty linens in public, there's nothing you can do, because the linen is already in the public. You're just doing, because there's nothing you can do. It is we that are in government that is actually doing that. How do you, Mr. Chairperson, see what our brother read today? That we are going to face hunger strike in a country like Nigeria, where there's vast, fertile land. And he mentioned 3 states that is going to be mostly affected. Borno State, Adamawa and Yobe. These 3 states, Borno State is the second biggest state in Nigeria, with 70.9 thousand square kilometers. Followed by, among the 3 states, Yobe is 45.5, and Adamawa is 36.5. 3 of them put together is 108,000 square kilometers. That is 5 times the size of Israel. Israel is 22.1. And so if you times Israel is 210 and this is 110. And Israel is doing food exports. And these people can't feed themselves. That is what is wrong. And that is what we must fix to stop washing our dirty linen in public. I wish you the best of deliberation. Thank you and God bless you.
Here. So we heard the Labour Party presidential candidate while he was addressing that particular function. You heard him when he said what he said. We're actually laughing because would we say he threw a shade at the end, or he was just trying to put a light and say, hey, we know what we're doing, right? So whatever it is anybody is saying, or whatever it is any opposition party is saying, we know what we're doing. But hey, let's look at. I was asking you a question before the caller asked you a question, and I was saying this. Is it possible that the Labour Party should try as much as possible to put its house in order? Kenneth Okonkwo has actually said there is no crisis within the Labour Party. In fact, on 4 different occasions, he has addressed the press. He has insisted that there is no crisis within the Labour Party. But we've heard what Lamidi Apapa said right now. We've also heard via the media of the Labour Party. In fact, this was a release from the Labour Party media itself, where Julius Abure said that he remains the chair. And then Lamidi Apapa is saying, I give you 48 hours to give me an update of what's going on, what you have been able to brief at the Election Petition Tribunal. You now hear Arabambi almost saying something different entirely. So the question is, how will the Labour Party put its house together as soon as possible so that they can proceed with the petition at the Election Petition Court? Yes, you.
Well, I think what should happen in the circumstances for the presidential candidate to win into this. This is the best way to address the issue. It must be able to call all parties together. What is the objective of our party? Is the objective to fight, distract ourselves at a critical juncture like this? Or is the objective for us to clinch, the presidency? Which is more important? Now let them see the bigger picture of the vision. You see, a leader must be able to, because if the crisis continues and the Labour Party fails at that instant, you see, the blame will go to their presidential candidate, who supposedly the leader of the political party. Okay, I mean, the leader of the political party is not the wholesome leader. Someone is at the forefront. If he becomes the president today, he's the leader of the political party, right?
Yes.
So he should be able to. It's not enough to talk about showing their dirty linen outside, and it's not enough to do that, to make that pronouncement in a public function. He must be able to, as a matter of fact, call all warring parties together in a closed-door meeting. This issue can be resolved by just a meeting. All they need to do is to bring all parties together and investigate proper. Because the truth is that Nigerian politicians and the way they go about politicking, they are porous, okay? The enemy must have been feeding on or be sowing into the dispute and the crisis. Just like we saw in Rivers State sometime, where the opposition party was sponsoring.
Hold on. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. Your name and location, please.
My name is Gabriel. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Gabriel, how is Ikorodu this evening?
Very fine. My greetings to your guest in the studio.
All right, thank you. Please go ahead.
What I want to say is concerning the obedience and their complaint against people. You see, there is something obedience stands for, and there is something they are pursuing. They need a new Nigeria, a better Nigeria, where things are done differently. And I want them to show me in everything they do. You see, we have a lot of people in our country. Most of them do not believe in obedience and what they are doing. And so, as a matter of fact, it's not everybody that will agree with you or buy into your ideas. And so, these people sometimes can make some offensive statements or comments. You don't need to, go the other way around or the other way by insulting them, by abusing them. Personally, I don't like it, especially when you have to do with an elder.
All right.
Talk of a man of God. So I don't blame our presidential candidate. I don't blame him for saying something against the insult from Papa Deboye. I do not name him. What he did is the right thing. Okay. So my emphasis is, if we are, working towards a new and a better Nigeria, we have to do things differently. So the not always reply people who don't believe or agree with what they are doing in an insulting manner. So that is my comment. Then on Lami Diabata and his group, we do, I maintain again, we do not know them. They are not for us. They are not working for our party. Okay? All through the electionary period, we did not hear that name. During the election, we did not hear that name. Now, after election, suddenly this man surfaced and with his group, and they are working against our case in the tribunal. They are enemies of Labour Party. They are not leaders of Labour Party. That's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling. Thank you. You were saying?
Yeah, I said at this critical juncture, they must be able to resolve that party and then the dispute. And there's no way that dispute can be resolved without P2P, stepping in, so that the picture is properly painted. Some persons have been sponsored by the opposition to create problem and mayhem within the political, to distract them at this critical juncture where they are supposed to be together. If they are not careful, very soon they'll be calling witnesses to the court.
Yes.
They'll be calling witnesses on the petition.
Yes.
Okay, if they cannot resolve this issue now and present the bigger picture of the vision of the political party, I'm afraid they might call a witness who is sponsored by the opposition in court, and that will create incalculable damage.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Are you hearing me better now?
Yes, I can hear you better now. What's your name?
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, you called from Surulere the last time, right?
Exactly, yes.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the big brother.
Okay.
I want to just mention about the House of Reps.
Okay.
I listened to you when you were about House of Reps and so on. What I feel, I interpret that the first leg of the match has been. So it might be the second leg.
The first
And that
leg
second
of
leg,
what?
that is where the men drop. And there's something that I can see in the House of Reps.
Hello, you're fading in and you're fading out. So we're yes, exactly.
It's on my end. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't so much. The way you never call again, coming from my end.
All right. You can actually send a WhatsApp message too. You can send a WhatsApp message. All right. We will definitely be able to see us. Thank you. Thank you so much for calling. 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. And then the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. All right. You made a valid point here. You were not done before that call came.
At this juncture, this issue has to be resolved. I don't know how the legal team, I don't know their level of input in this matter. But once a matter is in court, the lawyers, the litigants must ensure that they protect, their case. And part of protecting your case is preparing your witnesses. And then these witnesses may be brought over by the opposition. And they may go to court and become hostile witnesses against the case they are supposed to defend. And that will lead to, because at this juncture, whatever will distract the Labour Party from, the lawyers have already filed a fantastic brief. Okay, now you need support, you need conglomeration and forthright force to ensure that what is filed is properly executed in court, so that the judiciary will make a decision. So this is not the time for the political party to start to create conflict and dispute within themselves. And if you go deep into this, you'll find out it's pecuniary. This dispute is pecuniary. It's not just because somebody wants to lead. See, it's about pride and power. Okay, so Peter Obi need to step into the fray and resolve these issues so that the party can move forward with the case in court.
All right. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube. It's VOPTV and it's a Voice of the People 90.3 FM. That's VOP 90.3 FM or VOPTV. We're streaming live on YouTube. So do subscribe so whenever any of our programs come up, you definitely get notified. And again, the number to call is 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. The next question is for you, Barrister Joe Nwokedi, and I want us to I need your purview on this. Barrister Evans made a very valid point, which any other person can logically kind of understand. Peter Obi has met with Wole Soyinka in a way of trying to create that sense of peace, create that ambience of humility. Whatever it is you think the obedience are, that's not what we are, right? I respect you. Has done the same thing too through his media aid, concerning the aspect of the revered Reverend Enoch Adeboye, Pastor Enoch Adeboye of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. You heard the last caller say that whether we like it or not, it's not good for us to insult elders, and he did the right thing. We need to change the entire stratosphere on how things are being done if we need a new Nigeria. Why hasn't Peter Obi called a meeting between the factions that have issues and resolve this problem as soon as possible? If he could go meet Wole Soyinka, if he could immediately address the situation with Pastor Enoch Adeboye, why hasn't he come out to put his foot down and address the problem within the Labour Party as soon as possible? Just like Barrister Evans said, so that things do not escalate to a point whereby it would affect their case at the Election Petition Tribunal.
Yeah, it's a very good suggestion. One other friend has actually made there. You know, when something is, when a fire is raging, you have to be very, very careful. Whether you are the...
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello,
good evening.
Yes, good evening. Your name and location, please.
My name is Jonathan. I'm calling from London.
All right, Jonathan, welcome to the Sunday Spotlight. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to contribute on this Labour Party issue.
Okay.
So can I go ahead?
Yes, please. I said go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. What I want to say regarding this conflict between the APA and Abure faction, and Kenneth Okonkwo has said something that there's no faction in the Labour Party. Mm-hmm. So, but what I want to say is that we should not look very far. We should just look back at when the attack came on Doyin Okupe from the DDG campaign of Obidati movement. So the attack has been there, and there's a lot of work the opposition has been doing to bring down the movement. So back and forth, even as I'm talking to your president, a lot of work is still going on opposition on how to infiltrate, how to penetrate on the leadership of the Labour Party. And Peter Obi has said something. These people will not just be looking. So they are working tirelessly morning and night just to make sure that they scot to the movement. And when one of the lawyers beside you there, they said that the Labour Party filed a watertight case. They are looking everywhere. How can we break into this struggle? How can we break into this movement? So we should not expect that maybe they're gonna make us relax and be looking. So there is tension in the camp of opposition. What can we do? The hearing of the case is moving close. So what can we do? Let's intensify our attack. So, and the best way they can do it is just to use the people within the party, just to break into very close to the courtroom, and just to withdraw the petition. But I believe it's too late. It's too late because everything is in the open now. The hearing has commenced already. Okay. So the only thing that the Labour Party can do It's just to look for a kind of internal mechanism to just resolve the challenge presently.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution. All right. Professor Joe, you were saying something. Before you do that, the number to call is 0700 903 903 903, 0700 903 903 903, and the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039, 0700 903 9039. We're talking about the internal crisis within the Labour Party. We're also talking about the speakership position and the Senate president's position. We're also talking about the fact that the president-elect has traveled out of the country. And of course, based on what his media spokesperson said, he seems to be under pressure from a lot of political stalwarts for appointments. These are the conversations that we're having on the Sunday Spotlight. Please go ahead.
So I believe that P2B might, in a situation like this, you have to be very, very careful. Why aligning with what my learned friend said, but P2B should be careful because sometimes when a fight is staged, the main person might be the person that they want to use, that may be targeting. And once you show in that fight, you'll be killed. Not knowing the fight, the major fight is not it's not that fight you're seeing, but your presence in that fight is what they want. So you submit to that fight, they'll just kill you. So when you see such a fight, it's something you have to approach with caution and with serious tact. So first you have to watch it to know where the missiles are coming from, the direction of the missile, and who are those behind the missile. Then whether it is something like canceric, is it a cancer? Is it ordinary malaria or malaria with a cancer?
But do you think he should address the problem as soon as possible?
Then yes, he has to study that situation and know how to come in. Who is Alisa Media Bata? Where is he coming from? Who are those behind him? Is he a person trying to vent his displeasure or trying to make things better in Labour Party, or is his mission to destroy and destabilize? Is my presence going to validate maybe what the opposition wants him to do, so that it will be like I have submitted to all the kind of catastrophe and crisis or whatever he's causing? How would the other parties view my being involved? After you have studied all these things, he will go in. His present, like my learned friend said, the father figure, that father figure is not in Labour Party. Right. They don't have it. In other parties may have the father figure or somebody that may talk, former Senate president,
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
VOP.
Yes, VOP. What's your name, please, and location?
I'm calling from Lekki.
From Lekki. Please go ahead.
Yes. Oh, okay. Actually, it's what's going on. You see, I'm very disappointed in Arabandi.
All right.
I'm really disappointed. Let me tell you one thing. I'm a member of APC. Okay. But I'm so disappointed in what they are all doing. You see, they are making these people to feel that, we are afraid of them.
Oh, really?
You and me that told these people to go to court.
Okay.
You said they should go to court. They are now in court. Why are you feeling guilty that they are in court? You don't have to feel guilty. If actually we know that we won the election, why are you feeling guilty? We have to go to court. You see, look at what Arabandi has said. Canada is now saying that, assuming that if it was Tinubu that won the election, would Tinubu have said that he will not be sworn in? I mean, look at what he's talking. It's somebody that is, in another political party saying this, and so disappointed in Arabandi, and so disappointed in Abisuza. It already shows that what we've been trying to hide is now coming to show the public that actually Tinubu is APC sponsoring them. And it is so good. I'm so disappointed in them. That is what we want. I mean, we are told that this year we won the election. Okay, this year we didn't win. We say people should go to court. They're not only actually guilty. They're making us to feel that we have something, give them, that we are hiding something by telling them to go to court. You understand? Yes. You said we're making them to go to court. So I'm so disappointed. I'm an APC member, but I'm so disappointed in our party. I'm so disappointed. If people are doing something there, I'm so disappointed. And I think I mean, the top person of the Tinubu to come out. And you know, I'm confident there. If actually they are really punching them, they should hide it. They should not make it open. You know, I'm very disappointed in the John Mercy. I'm really disappointed. It's actually so that it's not in the election. Honestly, I'm so sad because they have really made people so they don't need people to see us finish. And I'm not happy about that. It is not good.
Okay.
Please allow me to watch what he says. She should watch what he says. She should watch, you know, he's not a good action. This that he was never a Labour Party man. These are people that people planted into the Labour Party. You know, I'm not APC. I'm using a card carrying member of APC. But I start to say to jail that I'm disappointed in APC. I'm disappointed in jail. I'm disappointed in jail. I mean, what about jail? Look at people back. What about jail? What about jail? They are disappointed. I'm so disappointed in jail.
All right, thank you.
You know, and they're not making people. They have sympathy for me. That's what they're saying. Look at what the Lord said and everybody was saying. That is rubbish. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wow.
That's just
you have what she said. She's
because
a member of the APC.
Because the way a party member, a Labour Party member, is now fighting for the opposition, say why would the president be saying that the president will not be, the candidate will not be saying, will not be sworn in? Is that your business? You are in Labour. You are not speaking of, she just captured it succinctly.
Yes.
The Arabambi of a man is not smart.
He's not smart.
From everything they are doing, everybody, even this Alameda Papa, all this, people are now saying the APC people are afraid of the matter in court.
And she's saying that if the APC feel they actually won, why put your hand in the case?
People are looking at even the very moment this Alameda Papa showed up, somebody said next thing will be like, go and withdraw the case in court. We are not pushing this matter. And before you know it, so I mean, it played out. He began to say something to that effect. People predicted them,
and they began
and they're acting upon that.
Now at the state level, they're already asking
to withdraw the cases.
Why?
So why?
That's the thing.
So why? People are now, P2B is getting more and more sympathy. And even the judges are listening to all this. You may think that they are not human beings. They are human beings. They can only be heard, but they're not be seen. They read all the papers. They have access to all the social media, but they'll not talk to you. They're not going to social functions and begin to donate money and dance around. But these are part of things they listen to. So that's why P2B's involvement should be done in a very, very careful manner. Because you don't know what he might go there to discuss with these people. And then certain things might be like, it might be giving them validity. So let them know but that crisis is not good for Labour Party at the moment. But they have to discover the source of the crisis and people behind the crisis. If there are people that should be ignored, why putting their houses in, very, very intact, they should find a way to ignore them. If they have a strong legal team that will go and, because I'm not downplaying any lawyer. The lawyer that argued out this matter before Justice Mwazu. So they will be strengthened. So by the time they go on appeal, they'll make a very formidable, application before the Honorable Justice of Court of Appeal. And that they also know that, look, this matter has to do with the main matter before the tribunal. All these things are distractions. Let the matter at the tribunal be the focus. Be like kind of merit. Nothing like withdrawal or all these internal mechanisms trying to look for an avenue to, to like get the matter to win a case. Let the matter be decided purely on merit or as to who won the election or who did not win the election. This has to do with the electors and the mandate of the Nigerian people to who they want to be their president.
All right, 0700.
Not to cut corners and find a way to distract the men's suit and withdraw the suit.
903. The WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Voice of the People TV at VOP TV Live. Voice of the People TV and VOP TV Live, as well as, the radio, Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Would actually implore you to subscribe so whenever any of our programs come up, you're definitely notified. In fact, we do have the VOP this morning, which will take place as well very early in the morning tomorrow from 7 to 9. And of course, other programs, the world news and the VOP business. There's quite a lot right there on VOP TV. So do subscribe so you get notified immediately we have any of the interesting programs programs come up. All right. Now, Barrister Evans, Ufeli, the next program, the next conversation, let me not use the word conversation, let's just say we're tilting towards the end of the program. Beyond all this that is happening, do you think the Labour Party actually has a structure?
Well, it has a structure, but with like every organization, even this organization, dispute must arise. One of the very strong school of thought in jurisprudence have said that whenever people gather, wherever you have more than two persons building a structure, an organization, or projecting a vision, or projecting an assignment, dispute must arise. There is no particular political party that is insulated from dispute. From APC, if they tell you the story of PDP, you will not believe they were once at the mainstream before they lost. There was a time where they bragged, they were so sure of their structure that they would be there for 60 years, that they were the biggest political party in the world or in Africa and all that. All those things happened, but till date, you still have dispute within them. So the dispute in the Labour Party is human nature. Now, what will distinguish it from other organizations that have failed is their ability to resolve the dispute amicably and then still project the vision of the party.
All right.
Because the oppositions need to see the downfall of that political party to project their own agenda and objective. And if you see what is going on, the hands of the opposition is all over the place. We are not a people, a country where people are contented.
All right.
And then people we just want to do whatever they want to do. But as what the party should do now is let people be stepping in. Let this issue be resolved.
Because of like Mimiko. Yeah, the Mimiko.
So finally, in a minute, because we need to round off. It's almost time. We have another program coming up in a minute. The APC itself. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's a strategist, has come in, but right now he's feeling pressured. The system of imposition is what is already causing a fracas within the party. Do you think that this will be sustainable? Just in a minute, please.
Anyway, they are trying to learn from him. He came up with the slogan of Milokon, that is my turn. So many people are coming up to say it is their turn. And he can't stop them from saying it is their turn because he first propagated and then promoted and popularized that concept of being my turn. I wish him well. I wish the party well for them to go and find a way to tidy up their, issues coming up in their party. And I might not, I will pray that they will have the capacity to resolve that crisis, because the way we see it, some people are laying claims to the level of participation, level of votes, level of roles they played for his emergence, and they are looking for a reward. These things are not good for our democracy, because politics is not like a reward for how you enable somebody to win an election, because that would jeopardize the collective service delivery to the people. Right. But then these are the kind of politics that even the likes of Bola Tinubu has enthroned into the Nigeria democratic landscape. So let us know how it will play out. But in the end, let the interest of Nigeria prevail.
All right. Thank you so much for being part of the program this evening, Barrister Evans Ufeli and Barrister John Wokedi. I really do appreciate your intellectual input on the program this evening. My name is Esther Wachuku. You've just been listening to the Sunday Political Spotlight, where we get to do a roundup of all the trending issues that are caught in the political space. To make sure you subscribe to VOP TV, that is at VOP TV Live, as well as VOP 90.3 FM. Do have yourself an amazing day. Bye for now. Barrister Evans.